welcome. I'm Mike Zito.
And I'm David Gofman.
And we are here at Ludlow Gymnasium for the finals of the FCIAC volleyball game. And Dave, it had to be these two teams.
No, it definitely did. They were probably the top two favorites coming into the season, and it certainly turned out that way with both of them in the finals.
And there are really about two rivalries, and at least it's Staples that I can think of, that surpass all others. This volleyball matchup, Trumbull versus Staples, and then football with Greenwich versus Staples. And there's two that are nothing like anything else in the FCIAC that I've seen.
No, definitely, and I think it has a lot to do with not only the history between these two teams, but also the coaching history. Because as most people know, John Shepro, who's a U.S. history teacher at Staples, is the coach for the Trumbull team.
And has 5 of the top 6 of the starters for Staples in his social studies class. So when you talk about respect, and we did this also in the semifinals when we were talking about Laurie LaRussa and Bruce Betts of the Staples volleyball team, a tremendous amount of respect, but this is even more so in that they're great friends, supporters of each other, and you know, in the same school. The students know each other, and I'll tell you something. The last 3 times that Trumbull has played Staples, Staples has come out on top, and Trumbull wants this bad.
No, they definitely do. And just to touch on really how close Betts and Shepro are, Betts tells us every day at practice what all the other teams have done, and he talks to Shepro every morning before school starts and tells him a little bit about what the team they played, how they did, and Betts does the same, so they get a kind of a scouting report on the teams.
And actually, if you want to take that a little bit further, after the regular season matchup between these two teams, Trumbull Times is quoted as saying, well, 5 of the 6 starters on Staples talked to Shepro, sort of give him some talk. That's bulletin board fodder for the Trumbull team. Well, Staples team is about to be introduced, so let's go to those introductions. The reserves are being introduced right now. Actually, the starters probably, because there's Charlie Weezer.
And Ben Kingler's just introduced.
Jillian Rothman, who we hope to have on our broadcast a bit today, talked about Max Shellman having a big game against Darien, and he certainly did.
No, he definitely did. He was a key part in the passing game for Staples.
And you can see as they shake Coach John Shepro of Trumbull's hands, it has a little more meaning for everybody. There's just a tremendous amount of respect on both sides of this court for both teams.
Definitely, and a lot of the players know each other also. Like the Trumbull players know a lot of the Staples players just due to the different club teams they've played on together, and just the fact that they've played each other 2 to 3 times a year, maybe even 4 times a year at some points, for 4 years now.
We'll break right now for our national anthem and be back with the FCIAC finals. With the playing of our national anthem, we're ready to go. At the conclusion of the April 25th game, Trumbull against Staples, which Staples won 3-1. Tim Pearson, who's gone on to be one of the 2 players on the Trumbull Eagle team who made all FCIAC, is quoted as saying, everyone on the team, especially the seniors, is looking forward to another shot at Staples. And they've got it tonight, and they've got it in a very, very big game. This is the finals of the FCIAC. The FCIAC that Staples has won every year since 2003. 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. Before that, Trumbull for 2 years, 2001, 2002. And Dave, you know that Trumbull wants this badly.
Well, they definitely do. They haven't. Their biggest rival is probably Staples, and they haven't had a win against them in a couple of years now.
Well, they did win the regular season game last year. One of the two.
But it was the first game we played against them, and then we went on to win the next three, and then the first one this year.
Including two real big ones in the FCIAC finals and the semifinals of the states.
Yeah.
And both of those matches went 5 games.
And they did, and they were both great matches to watch, and they were very close, and it really came down to capitalizing on other teams' mistakes.
Well, for those of you that are tuning in and aren't as familiar with volleyball, maybe played it a long time ago when you were in school, a quick sort of change that's happened over the last few years. When I was younger, which was a long time ago, used to be the only time you can get a point was on your serve. Right now, every time ball hits the floor, ball goes out, ball goes into the net, somebody's going to get a point. That is a way of making the game go faster. It could go up to 5. It's the first to win 3. The first 4 games are up to 25 points. Always you have to win by 2, and then that 5th game goes to only 15.
And I think the rally scoring, which is what it's called when each team gets a point regardless of who's serving, I think it adds another aspect to the game. It adds a more, it just shows that you really need to make your serves, because if you miss a serve, unlike before, when you just give the ball back to the other team, you now lose a point. So.
And it's a little easier to get on runs, and this is really a game of streaks. And that was true the first time these two teams played, and I'm sure it's going to be true today too.
Definitely, and we noticed that a lot was during the Darien game, as Peter Lewiczka serves to open up the game. And there's a great play by Charlie Weezer to start it off, which is pretty much exactly what they ran against Darien to start off the game.
I think it was a Weezer kill that started off that game. And speaking of Peter Lewiczka, that Danbury match ended with Peter Lewiczka in Game 3 serving 9 points in a row to go up 9-0.
And there's a lift there by Tim Pearson, who we mentioned earlier in the broadcast.
And Dave, why don't you talk a little bit about how hard Peter's serve is to get back? You mentioned that in the Darien game.
Well, Peter, as he gets an ace there, I believe, his serve is what's called a float serve, where it's basically there's no spin on it, and it comes off his hand flat, and it basically knuckles. So
it's almost like a knuckleball in baseball.
Exactly. So there's a great block there by Charlie Weezer, and it is now 3-0 Staples, 4-0 Staples.
4-0. You could see Coach John Shepro off the bench. This is not how Trumbull wanted to start this match.
No, it's not. They wanted to get out on a quick start, which is what Staples ended up doing.
And it's not surprising that Coach Betts started off with Peter serving, as he just had a great service game the last time. That ball's out, so it's 5-0 right now. And
well,
Peter
the ball was tipped by the blocker, so now it's actually a point to Trumbull. So now it's 4-1.
So it's 4-1.
As Matt Salvi, who is the setter and senior captain for the Trumbull team, gets ready to serve.
And Matt is one of 2 of the Trumbull players that made the All-FCIAC team, he and Tim Pearson. Jump serve for Matt.
It's a float serve there. Jackson Lesser misses wide, and it's now 4-2.
We mentioned during the Darien game just how balanced both teams are really in terms of tonight, but certainly the Staples team, and Jackson is a big part of that. He had a number of kills in the last game.
Jackson definitely is. There's one of probably many great passes by Tito, who is the libero, as that swing goes just wide there by number 27, Taylor Collison.
And speaking of all FCIAC, Taylor Collison was honorable mention in the FCIAC. 3 players that have been mentioned or made all FCIAC team on the Trumbull side, 6 on the Staples side.
There's a tip there by Collison, and it is 5-3 now.
I was talking with Laura Blair this morning, and she said, how many games do you think this is going to go? And she said, I hope not 5, because it's just too nerve-wracking.
No, it really is. As a lift is called there on Peter Lewiczka.
And I got to be honest with you, I would be shocked if it doesn't go 5 with the history of these two teams.
Well, I think it actually very well could, just because it's now on a neutral playing ground. And Mike Smith continues to serve there as the overpass is knocked down by Tim Pearson, so it is now tied 5-5.
So we talked about runs a little bit early, and Staples got off on an early run, and now Trumbull's right back at him.
I think this is how this game's going to go probably throughout the whole game, just back and forth, because these teams are so great, as Charlie gets another kill there. And Charlie was probably the most important player on Staples against Trumbull.
And we talked about this a little bit in the Darien game. He rotates in with Ari Sine, and that's happened right now.
I think the difference, though, between Ari Sine and Charlie Weezer is because Charlie is obviously much taller than Ari is, and I think Charlie is more of a finesse hitter than Ari, and Ari is more of a power hitter.
And watch out, fans, for Ari Sine, number 25 on the Staples team. You're going to see pure power serves and kills from him today.
Ooh.
But not that time. Nice.
The set was a little low there by Peter Lewiczka, and Ari just tipped it over for the kill.
Nice change of pace for Ari, huh?
Yeah.
Now, it would have been more timely if he killed the ball right after I said that.
That really shows the versatility and the balance of the Staples team. Just
absolutely.
Ari's ability to tip a ball like that with the immense power that he still has.
That was a serve from Austin Seeger now.
So there's a kill in between the block there by Taylor Collison.
Taylor, as I said, is sort of number 3 on this team in terms of the FCIAC. He's the one that made honorable mention, and yet so far he's been the star of the Trumbull team in the early goings anyway.
No, I think that, like, similarly to Trumbull, similarly to Staples, Trumbull is a very balanced team. It's not really a team of stars. I mean, they do have a fantastic libero who is a defensive specialist. For those of you who don't know, in Tito, or Chris Convertito, if that's how you know him better, but most people know him as Tito. He's the one wearing the white jersey, number 25 for Trumbull.
Peter Lewiczka with the last shot to give Staples an 8-7 lead.
As Ben King can't corral that pass, and
that's Tim Pearson, and he is the one of the 2 players that made the All-FCIAC. So we are seeing the stars of the FCIAC shine, and we are seeing just what we expected, an 8-8 game right now. Ben King with the dink.
That ball is wide there by number 34, but they call it a tip, and it is Trumbull ball. Tim Pearson continues to serve now as it's 8-9 Trumbull. Will with a nice up there. Peter with the swing, but Mike Smith got the net, so it's Staples ball as Ari goes back to serve.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of jump servers on the Staples side, do we?
No, because I think the Staples team really relies more on their defensive ability more than overpowering with serves, because they are such a good, well-balanced passing team, as opposed to some teams who will just try and overpower so that they don't have to play as much defense. There's a great play there by Mike Smith to keep the ball inside the antennas, but Charlie Weezer...
It's 2 points in a row off of Charlie's hand. And those 2 points give Staples an 11-9 lead. We're in game 1 of this FCIAC final. Staples leads at 11-9, and Ari Sine with his 3rd serve.
There's a nice tip there. And Will and Ari can't quite come up with the pass. So
as we introduce all the all FCIACs, let's get the 3rd from Trumbull. That was Matt Salvi with the point winner on that one.
I think Matt Salvi is really the key to the game for Trumbull today, just because he is a senior captain and he is the setter who is really similar to the quarterback in football. He really tells everyone what they're doing and where they're going to go.
And there he is again.
So I think if he sets well and if he hits well, that they will have a very good chance of winning.
That's Mike Smith tying up this game again. So we're back and forth again. It's 11-11, game 1 of the FCIAC finals. Trumbull against Staples, we knew it was going to be these two.
So there's a nice pass there by Max Shellman on the tough serve. And Will gets a nice up there. And Ben King gets the swing, and it's a lift called on Mike Smith, so it is Staples' ball, and it's 12-11 as Peter goes back to serve. There's a good swing there on a ball that was a little bit behind the middle.
And that's the first time in a few nights, really, that Peter has served and hasn't put together a run of points.
Well, and it's true just due to the fact that he has a very tough serve, and as we mentioned earlier, he went on a 9-0 run to start the third game against Danbury, so he really has a dangerous serve. As Benny King misses just wide there.
It was a little bit of a surprise that Trumbull is in this game. They were seeded 3. Really, 3 of the top teams in the Class L division are in the FCIACs. Ridgefield was favored over Trumbull by way of their conference wins and losses, but Trumbull came out and won, and they are ahead right now, 14-12.
So there's a serve there by Salvi. No one was going to block that one as Jackson Lesser went up there in the middle as Charlie and Jackson basically switched places there, and Charlie ran an outside set and Jackson ran the middle, and he was set and he threw it down.
Crowd is really starting to fill up this gym, and you can sort of feel that there's a little bit of tension also in this gym. These two teams evenly matched, huge rivals, and have played each other to 5-game matches in important matches before. So we're just getting started, and this is already everything that it's been cracked up to be. 15-14 with that kill by Trumbull.
And it really is, as Taylor Collison there gets another kill, and he's really been a focal point to this game as the Trumbull bench tries to pump up their crowd there. There's another pass there by Shellman, and Peter with the great tip there, and he's really well known for that, and he'll do that twice to 3 times per match in close games, as the lift was called there on Mike Smith, and the Trumbull players don't like the call.
Yeah, Mike Smith did not think that he had a lift at all, and Matt Salvi went right to the ref to say, I don't think so.
And that's one of those plays you really have to shrug off as a player, because if you let it get to you, then everything, all frustration will start to build, and it could really just, it'll like lower your chances of winning. It'll just make everything worse.
And one of the things that can, their star, one of their stars anyway, Tim Pearson gets a winning point, and all is forgotten. They're right back in the game. So
exactly. I think a lot of the time that's really what separates the good teams from the great teams, just your ability to ooh, as that's a double hit there by number 20, who is actually not listed on our roster.
Not on our roster, so some of the numbers have changed. I see Tito's number is not what we have on our roster, although we know Tito as the smaller kid who just does a great job for this Trumbull team.
He's really a fantastic passer, definitely one of the best passers.
And there's a nice play.
And that he shows it right there with his abilities. And I think he's actually one of the better passers in all of New England, just based on his ability and his performance in the New England tournaments that his club team participated in.
The Eagles have a 1-point lead against 17-16.
There's a great play there by Austin to stay out of the net, which ends up leading to a Staples point. So Staples has tied it up now.
You can feel the tension in this building, can't you?
No, you really can, and I think it's a great rivalry, and it's a lot of fun to watch, and the fans love it, and it's pretty full. And
the players have not disappointed yet, and
no, they really
we're
haven't.
just getting started. 18-17 Staples.
And I think this is really what the pace is going to be for the whole game, just because they are such great teams. As Will pops another float serve there. And that's a huge block there on Matt Salvi by the combination of Ari and
was that a double
King.
block?
I think it might have been. And
Ari certainly was pumped up afterwards.
It was a big point, and good job by Staples. A little miscommunication there on the pass. Just great defense there by Staples to keep the ball up as Peter tips that one over. That one's tipped out.
That's a big point.
That is a big point. It's by
Nice saves from both Will and Austin Seeger.
as Trumbull takes the timeout there, so that's a big timeout.
Well, almost had to take the timeout here. It's 20-17.
No, you definitely did.
And you know, a big swing at the right time for Staples. This game hasn't been really no difference between each of the teams. A point here, a point there, and now a real nice time for a surge. I think that's at least 3 and maybe 4 points in a row for the Wreckers here. And this is the time you want to put the surge together. It's 20-17.
Yeah, definitely. And as we talked about earlier, this is a game of runs, and Staples just went on a good 4-point run there as the Staples fans start cheering, "Let's go Wreckers," which should help them out, as the Trumbull fans seem awfully quiet right now to start as we get towards the end of the first game.
Yeah, somebody told me there was a number of events happening at Trumbull, so they expected that maybe part of the Trumbull crowd would be diminished because so much is happening at the high school today.
So there's a huge block there by Ari Sine.
And Ari's pumped up. He hasn't. We haven't seen his power in terms of him spiking or killing anymore, at least tonight. But 2 big blocks from Ari, and it's 21-17 with Will Richardson serving.
And I think that's one of the main parts of Staples' defense is the performance of their middles and blocking as Ben King gets a kill there as he hits deep corner.
And another timeout by John
Shepro. So it is now 22-17.
And that's 6 points in a row. And
it's a big 6 points.
Couldn't happen at a huger time. There are still a number of people coming in, and most of the people that I've seen come in have been Staples fans. And I would say a good 3/4 of the people here at Ludlow tonight are on the blue and white side of the court. They're in store for, as we've been saying, quite a matchup. The matchup everybody really wanted to see in the finals of the FCIAC.
And really the matchup that everyone expected to see.
From the beginning of the year on.
Yeah, exactly. And really from the end of last year, if you want to go back that far, as Will serves again after that timeout. Ooh, and there's a carry called on Taylor Collison. That is.
How important is it to get the first game as a win?
I think it's very important because it puts the pressure on the other team, and it keeps the momentum in your favor. As there's a great pass there by Tito, and a great up there by Ben King in return. Will Richardson just can't get that ball over the net, so
stops bleeding a little bit for Trumbull.
Yeah, a little bit.
23-18. But they got to go on a run, or this game's over.
That was definitely a must-win point there for Trumbull. That ball hits the antenna on the swing by Peter Lewiczka, so it's 23-19 now.
Pearson with his second serve. And there's a bit of the power of Ari Sine. We knew it was going to happen soon.
As after that kill, Ari's dad actually jumps up in the stands, started clapping his hands, and he is known for his intensity in the stands as he
Ari's going to get to serve for this first game.
And it's actually interesting because Mr. Sine ended up leading most of the cheers for the Staples fans in the state championship game. So it was a lot of fun to watch, and it was a lot of fun to take part in my part.
Well, 24-20. Tito will be serving, and the next point that Staples gets, and there it is.
This is the serve, and it is now 1-0 Staples.
Un-Tito-like, huh?
Oh, definitely, and I think he's definitely one of the most consistent players on the Trumbull team, so it's interesting to see him miss a serve.
Well, especially with the recent history where Staples has won the last 3 matches, including last year's FCIAC final, last year's state semifinal, and also their first match this year. First match was won 3-1. This is big to get this first one. It's probably going to get in the Eagles' heads.
Oh, definitely, and I think that's, again, it has to do a lot with getting the fast start and putting the pressure on the other team, because the team that often gets the fast start gets the momentum, which really puts the pressure on the other team.
Well, I'm Mike Zito, and this is Dave Gofman, and we are here at the Ludlow Gymnasium, and we've just seen Game 1 of the FCIAC Finals, and Staples won that Game 1. They won Game 1 the last time they met, which was April 25th. Just for history's sake again, in the second game of that match, Trumbull came back to win. That Game 2 was the game that Trumbull came back to win. They won it 25-27, and then Staples won more and more convincingly, 25-20 and 25-15. So we'll see what happens. Certainly, this is almost a must-win this game for Trumbull, I would think.
No, it definitely is, because then that puts if they end up losing the game, it'll then be 2-0 for Staples, and that'll really put the pressure on Trumbull having them.
Although, you know what, Dave? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking back to the state semifinals, and Staples won the first 2 games there. Trumbull came right back, won 2 games, and then in Game 5, in Game 5, it was tight, and Staples finally pulled it out.
Definitely, and I personally think the biggest momentum shifting game is Game 4. Because if it's 2-1, let's say Staples, and Trumbull ends up winning Game 4, then they have the momentum going into Game 5, as opposed to if Staples wins, it's game over.
Well, teams are back on the court for Game 2. A 1-0 game lead for Staples. Same 6 look to be on the court for Staples, although it looks like Trumbull's has made some changes. Number 13, Rick Gerard, is in there, and I see Tito's back, as to be expected, along with Tim Pearson. So I think Rick Gerard is the one substitution right now for Coach John Shepro and his Trumbull Eagles.
I think that just has a little bit to do with just trying new things against this very balanced and powerful Staples defense, and just trying different things and trying to get some sort of offense going, some sort of flow.
Well, Matt Salvi will open up Game 2, jump serve that Peter Lewishka handles.
So Charlie Weasel gets blocked there, and Trumbull fans erupt in cheer. It is 1-0 now, Trumbull, as Salvi continues to serve. It's called double hit there by
Bill Richardson. He wasn't happy about it, but it was a double hit, and Trumbull's got the early lead in Game 2, 2-0. Salvi's jump serve. Zito with the save.
That one can't be
corralled. Gerard not exactly looking like the polished player that Coach Shepro wanted for a substitute there.
As it's now 2-1 2-1 Trumbull.
Now Peter is serving to start this game too. Is there any sort of rule as far as serving that they have to have some sort of order?
Well, there's just the rotation, that there's a clockwise rotation around the court.
Okay, so that hasn't changed since I was a kid.
No, and then there's whoever's in the top left corner of the rotation must serve.
The change, though, is that that people like Tito will now serve, right? That's something new, right?
That was changed at the end of last season, at the beginning of this season, where the libero can now serve during the game. So now Max Shellman and Tito can take part in serving.
You could see there just how hard it was to return. It's something like you were talking about early, where Taylor Collison really had a problem with. You could visibly see that the ball was floating on him, really, just like what you're saying, Dave.
No, you really could, and that has a lot to do with the movement and the unpredictable movement, and sometimes even the late movement on the ball, which can really throw you off when you're trying to get a good pass up. As there's a block there by Charlie Weaver and Jackson Lesser, and it is now tied 3-3.
Got our principal up with a standing ovation there behind him.
He tries to go to a lot of the big games, John Dodig, the principal of Staples High School, and I think it really shows a lot about the kind of person he is and how much he really does care about the school.
Almost a great save there.
If not a great save, though, great effort there by the
well,
Staples
I was thinking
players.
even, and I don't remember who did it, but even that almost pancake in front there, even before the dive.
Charlie there, and I think that the Trumbull players might be starting to anticipate the middle sets a lot. So we'll see what Staples does to try and combat
Number
that.
20 is another one that that we don't have right in the scorecard that the FCIAC gave out. Gerard for his third serve now. And Gerard also with that save. Shulman to set it up.
As Peter can't corral the pass that was a little bit long.
That's the first time in 5 games that I've watched Max over the last couple of nights do anything but give the perfect set.
No, definitely, and I think that really, as Julian said earlier, really talks about what a great player that Max really is, as he puts that one over a little bit also.
Trumbull's on a bit of a run. Jim, is that 7-3? 7-3 the score right now, and Gerard, who's getting his first minutes here, is putting together a little run on his serve.
That's a double hit there, a carry, I believe, called on number 20 on the hit by Jackson. So
yeah,
it's
we're sorry that we don't have number 20's name, but the scorecard that we got from the FCIAC doesn't list him. As
Will gets a great swing there, and Zito just can't corral the pass.
You know, it's almost because of the structure. There's sort of a little bit of almost a netting that goes down, and if that wasn't there, that would have been a great save by Zito, but blocked it back in. Shellman now serving.
Benny King there with a great pass. Jackson Lesser with a great swing. Will Richardson with the swing off of the block there by Taylor Collison.
So just like we were saying in the beginning, little swings back and forth, back and forth. Staples with the last 3 points, so it's 7-6. And Max will serve again. Beautiful shot.
A great play there by Ben King just to throw his hand up and make some sort of play on the ball, and it ended up being a very good pass.
Turned out a very good pass, and Will Richardson kill in the perfect spot on the court.
As that ball is just long by Tim Pearson. As Trumbull calls a timeout, as it is now 8-7.
Back and forth, Dave. You know, I don't think Betts has called one timeout yet.
I don't think he has, and I think that really shows a lot of the confidence that he really has in his players, just their ability to bounce back, just without needing to huddle up and regroup. They can just do it by themselves on their own.
Well, he really hasn't had to, because it seems like the runs have come on Staples. Staples has had the run. So in terms of just the game flow, it seems like Sherpa had to make those timeouts just to try and change the momentum.
And I think I think it seems like he's taking maybe a couple too many timeouts in this case, but I think he's just trying to keep it safe and trying to keep Staples from going on a huge run and making a big separation between these two teams.
Well, they're on a run right now of, I believe, 5 points, and they've taken the lead in game 2, 8-7. They are up 1 game to nothing. And there's the dink.
Tip there by Jackson Lesser, so it's now 9-7 as Ari tapped his head saying smart play, which it really was.
And we commented about this in the last broadcast in the Darien game, just how smart this team is.
And they really are, and I think that has a lot to do with the coaching they get from Betts, where he really emphasizes making smart decisions and taking the easy set and the easy hit and the easy location when it's given to you, because you're not going to get that easy location all the time, so you should really take advantage of it when it's given to you.
Not just more timeouts, but more substitutions for the Eagles side. As you just saw Jimmy Chaplowski, the first action that he's had today, he just came in for Smith.
As Will was called over there, and he's a little bit upset about the call, and he really shouldn't let it get to him.
That stops a 7-point run for the Wreckers. They lead at 10-8.
Taylor Collison with the serve there. Jackson Lester with the tip, but Tito was right there to corral the pass. Benny King with a great dig there. Will Richardson with the tip. Max Shellman with a great pass. And another tip there by Ari with a great dig there by Tito. Will though.
Nobody's getting that one. Oh, they called that Trumbull point.
They called that out. I don't know why they would call that out, but I'm really not sure. And Will is really upset about the call.
Well, one ref conferred with the other one, and they both seem to agree on it. So, and the bench, the Staples bench, started nodding their heads. I'm not sure of the call, but it seems like it probably was the right call.
That was out, but no tip called there, so it is Trumbull point.
It did look like a tip from here, and the fans in front of us are saying that, but again, no
did.
argument from anybody, so I guess it's just the way it appeared from here.
So a couple questionable calls there, as one of the Trumbull players gets net there, so it is
11-10 Staples.
Staples, even after those calls, they still hold the lead. So Austin Seeger
to serve.
Senior captain for Staples. Big topspin serve there. Whiff there by number 21, Kim Pearson.
Seemed like the set was a little bit close to the net there by Collison.
It was a little bit tight there.
I'm noticing, and I'm watching more volleyball as we get towards the end of the year. You obviously play on the JV team, Dave. I'm noticing, just in contrast to the Darien game, a lot of these sort of dinks over the front line that were falling for points against Darien are being gotten by Tito and others on the Eagles side.
And I think that really shows the maturity levels of the difference between the maturity levels of the Trumbull team and the Darien team. Just because Trumbull actually has 11 seniors on their team, as opposed to Darien, who really only had 2 or 3.
It'll be interesting if this great rivalry continues, as Trumbull does have, like you said, 11 seniors on this team, and it's going to be interesting if Coach John Shepro can maintain the excellence that he's had over the last number of years with this now senior class.
No, it definitely is, and it should be a lot of fun to watch. As Will Richardson seems really upset about just his play in general, maybe some of the calls that have been made on the court. So we'll see what Betts does to respond to that.
Well, it's 13-12 right now. Staples holding a narrow lead, which is now tied.
It is 13-13 as these teams have been going back and forth all day in Game 1 and now in Game 2.
In Game 1, it was just about like this when Staples went on a 6-7 point run and pretty much put it away then. This is a key part of Game 2 right now.
It's Ari there with the tip/half swing there to get the kill.
I almost think like whoever goes on the next run of 2 or 3 points is going to put away this game right now.
So Will just can't get the pass there, and it is 14-14.
I know one of the Staples players, Tommy DeAgostino, didn't suit up, has been sick today. I saw Coach Betts go up to Will today in the hallway of Staples and said, "You feeling better?" So I didn't know if Will was sick at all. He sort of nodded his head. He certainly isn't going to miss this game. But I don't know if Will's game seems a little off compared to the way that he was playing against Darien. I don't know if he's a little bit under the weather.
It might be that, but I think a lot of it just has to do with the frustration he feels just due to some of the calls that have been made in this game.
And also just the tension of playing in a rivalry game like this.
No, definitely.
I didn't want to jinx him, but there it is again, where another miscue from Will.
And I think just due to all of this, from what's going on, we actually might see some action from the bench from some players, maybe even like Charles Winslow, who is better known for his 40-inch vertical than maybe a lot of other things.
Matt Salvi with another serve.
There's a block there by Trumbull. And a swing there by Ben King, which can't be called by the Trumbull team, so it is 16-all.
16-all, coming down to the wire in game 2 right now. And probably the best server on the Staples team, Peter Lewishka, to serve it at 16-16.
As that pass there, I think, really shows how tough his serve is to hit, or to pass, I mean, just due to how far off that pass really was to where it needed to be.
And Pete has just run off some incredible service runs of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points.
He's a fantastic player, and he showed it last year as a sophomore starting in the FCIAC championship game against Trumbull on the varsity team, which is really a big step for him, and it really showed what a great player he was.
Well, that is one of the differences in terms of the Staples team is rather young, with only 4 seniors, as opposed to the 11 for Trumbull.
As that block there was hit out there by Taylor Collison.
Well, it's 18-17, Staples with the slimmest of leads right now as we reach the waning stages of game 2. Staples won the first game, so they have a 1-0 game lead, but we're at the crucial part of game 2 right now.
Max Shellman with the great effort there, and so same with Benny King, as they cannot quite get that pass back into play.
And at these big moments, it's the big players that come through. Tim Pearson with the game-winning point, or winning point right there. This is Rick Gerard to serve again. Full-out try, but to no avail. As again, a little bit off today, Staples is. Shellman would seem doing some not as crisp as he was certainly against Darien. Will Richardson even more so, and the Trumbull team probably a few notches above Darien. So we're seeing quite a game.
No, we definitely are, and I think that Staples really needs to relax and just maybe even start over, just empty everything that's happened so far in this game and really just play Staples volleyball, because if they play Staples volleyball, I really don't think there are many teams that can stay on the same court with them for a long period of time.
It's 19-18 Trumbull right now. And this, as we get to the, again, waning stages of the second game, it shows how important getting that first game is.
It really does.
Because this is now really must territory for Trumbull.
As there's a great tip there by Charlie Weezer to give Staples the ball back.
And again, the normal substitution pattern of Charlie Weezer and Ari Sine going back and forth.
And Ari seemed really angry and frustrated on the bench when he left, so we'll see how he responds right now. As that tip there doesn't quite fool the Staples players. As that ball goes down, and Staples gets the point.
2 points in a row, so down 19-18. With those 2 points, they go up 20-19.
2 very big points in this game.
Max Shellman for his third serve.
Great spot there by Will.
They're going to Pearson.
A great spot there by Will as he throws that one down, and Staples is now up 21-19.
And that's a big point in a lot of ways. It's going to get Will back in this game, too.
No, it definitely will.
A little bit of that negativity away from Will Richardson.
As his confidence was greatly boosted, he jumped up and was very excited. Peter Lewishka there with a great
save there.
But to no avail as they throw it right back over, and it is 21-20.
And we've been seeing Pearson, Collison, Pearson, Collison, Pearson, Collison, as we could have expected.
And I think they really are the two main hitters on this team, and they really need to carry this team offensively as Tito needs to carry them defensively. So lift is called there on either Peter or Ari. I'm really not sure. I think it was Peter, but it is now tied.
Remnants of the April 25th game where Staples won the first game fairly easily, and then the second game went to 25-27, where it seemed to be heading right back.
There's a tip that's just out there by number 21, Tim Pearson. Staples gets the lead back.
Close call there, huh?
It was, and a lot of these calls are very close. As they say in baseball, it really is a game of inches.
And on huge plays, too, 21-21.
Exactly.
Austin Seeger to serve. He has an interesting and unique serve.
There's a great play by Tito just to get that ball up, as it is a free ball back over to Staples. Hopefully they can capitalize. As Will does and throws it down, and it is now 23-21. So that gives Staples a little bit of breathing room. Not much, but a little bit. As Shepro quickly takes the timeout.
We are at 23-21, game 2. Staples won the first game, and I'm not sure exactly what these Staples fans are shouting to Trumbull.
They're shouting "rattled" to try and make them a little bit flustered. And
definitely, this rivalry is special for so many reasons, and it's not usual that so many people would know the coach so well on the other team, but John Sherpro teaches at Staples, and it adds a whole nother element to this intense rivalry.
I think it makes this a lot more fun also, just because if you noticed earlier in the Darien game, the fans weren't nearly as intense and excited as they are for this game. I think not only because this is the championship and that was the semifinals, but also just because they know the coach so well.
Again, a nice serve towards the back line by Austin Seeger. Pearson.
There's a tip there with a great up by Peter Lewiczka.
Austin puts it towards the back.
Great dig there by Ben, as that one's just a little bit far. And Peter skims the net. And skims the antenna, I'm sorry.
So you said a little bit of breathing room, that's all that is. It's 23-22 now. As Pearson serves.
It's a great up there by Max Shellman. Just keep that ball up as it's a carry there by Austin as he goes tumbling over the players in front of him.
And we're tied again, 23-23. And a timeout for Betts.
Betts takes the timeout to try and recuperate his troops and.
Well, sort of talk about this end game, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Now you've been in that huddle. What do you think Coach Betts is talking about right now?
I think he's just talking about get 1 point, and a lot of the time he just talks about just start off one pass, because a pass starts everything, and with a good pass you can then get a good set more easily and get a good swing and get a point.
Nothing but serious looks on all of the players' faces.
Definitely.
And why not? 23-23, Game 2 of the FCIAC Finals.
Big point.
All FCIAC player to serve Tim Pearson.
This point puts the pressure on the other team as Pearson gets the service ace, I believe, there. So it is now 24-23 Trumbull, and it is game point.
Pearson taps the floor a couple times, dribbles twice, and here's his serve.
Nice up there by Peter. As Ari tips that over, and it's called the lift, so it's 24-24, and the game is tied again.
And again, first 4 games of any 5-game match has to be played to 25, but all games are win by 2. So this is not game point, but it's certainly an important point as Will Richardson serves.
That one is good on the back line as Will is very upset about what's going on here.
And again, it's a game of inches. It was just on the line. I think the end of the ball just caught the line. So that wasn't game point, but whoever won it would be game point. And Tito's right now serving 25-24.
It's a great serve there by Tito as Austin just tips that over. There's a tip and a net by Trumbull. So it is now Staples' ball, and it is tied again, 25-25.
Go back. to April 25th, Game 2. Final score of Game 2, 27-25. Can it happen again?
We'll see which way this one goes.
Ari Sine to serve.
The Trumbull team, or the Trumbull fans rather, screaming while Ari is serving.
Ari's not happy about it.
Is not allowed.
Yeah, there's an ethical part to this that you don't see that happening very often, and there'll be people talking to those Trumbull side over there.
And I think that might initiate some of the Staples fans to do the same, just to respond and really try and get things back. As a lift is called there by Staples, and Trumbull wins the game 27-25.
Exactly the same score that Trumbull won the second game the last time. Looking at Ari's face, I know that he heard that person who yelled out from the Trumbull side.
I think this game means a lot more to Ari than it would to any other Staples player, not only because to other players it means a lot just due to the fact that Shepro coaches at Staples and teaches at Staples.
It's for the FCIAC championships too.
Not only that, but Ari actually lives in Trumbull, and he commutes to school with his mom, who's a teacher. And so I think this.
So yet another connection
exactly.
that makes this rivalry all the more.
He wants to win every Trumbull game. I think so much more than any other player on the court, just due to that fact that he has known these kids for a long time, and he still sees them once in a while.
Well, Staples has not lost many games this year. They lost 2 games to Ridgefield. They lost 1 game, like I said, 27-25 to Trumbull, and they have lost the second game, 27-25. So again, it makes it all the more important that Trumbull won this second game. So all the more important that Staples won game 1.
It really is, and I think this puts the pressure a little bit on Staples, just because Trumbull showed them that they can keep up with them and they can win games off of them. So I think Staples really has to respond here, hopefully with a big run by Peter Lewiczka to start off the game like he usually does.
We are about to start Game 3 of the FCIAC Finals, 2007 FCIAC Finals. The Staples Wreckers against the Trumbull Eagles, and we are, as sort of we expected we would be, right in the middle of a tense, close match. It's 1-1 as we head to Game 3. Teams, like I said, are on the court, and here we go. Looks like Peter Lewiczka to start this game serving.
And hopefully he will be able to get on a run to start off Staples, jumpstart them a little bit, hopefully, as he usually does. And here we go. As that block is just wide there on the swing by Jackson Lesser. So Staples gets out to a 1-0 lead.
Matt Salvi back in the game. He rested a little bit during game 3. Rick Gerard, who had a pretty good game serving anyway, is remaining in the game. He didn't play game 1.
I think he should remain in the game because he's had the hot hand so far, so I think they should just keep going to him and seeing what he can do.
Well, we talked about how important game 1 is. Oh my God, how important is game 3?
No, definitely.
When you're tied 1-1.
Yeah, exactly. It really brings out the best, I think, in teams as Staples is now up 3-0, and as we said, it would be vital for the Staples team to have Peter Lewiczka go out to a quick run to start off the game, as he has done.
This is just how he started game 1.
Exactly, and how he started game 3 against Darien. As Trumbull gets net there, as Staples gets a point, so it's now 4-0. Now, I don't know if he'll get as impressive of a run against Trumbull as he did against Darien to start game 3.
I think that was 9 points, and I don't think they got one of them back.
Exactly, as a rare missed serve there by Peter. I believe the first one that we've seen during our broadcast.
Yeah, well, it's 4-1 right now. I'm sure Coach Betts out of that huddle said, let's get some of these early points. See what happens next.
It's a great get there by Peter, but it's just out.
Almost an impossible angle to get that.
Exactly. No, I think that really shows the athleticism of Peter Lewiczka and what a great player he really is.
Creativity too.
And even though he wasn't able to get that ball in, just be able to get to it and make it close was, I think, a great play. A good pass there by Will. A very difficult set there by Peter Lewiczka. There's net there by the Trumbull setter, Salvi, as Staples gets the ball back.
And probably not Salvy's fault.
No, it wasn't. The
set was
pass
too close to the net.
The pass was fairly tight. So Ben King misses a serve, so that is now 2 missed serves in a row for the Staples players.
Yeah, Coach Betts is shaking his head no. You know he doesn't want to see that.
Definitely doesn't. He stresses all the time, make serves, and they really haven't done that to start this game besides the early run by Peter.
Mike Smith serving for the Eagles. I want to call them the Golden Eagles, but they're just the Eagles now.
They are. And there's a good swing there by Will to give Staples the point. It is now
6-4. And here's the main substitution that the Wreckers make. Ari Sine in, Charlie Weiser out.
As Max Shellman makes that serve, and I think that was a big serve to make with a great dig there by Peter, just because they had missed the 2 serves earlier, and this really puts them back in. It's a very difficult set there with Tito right there,
all over the place.
Just his ability there to read where the setter is going and what is going to happen.
Peter is such a creative player.
He really is. As they call net on Staples and give the point to Trumbull.
So 6-4 as Rick Gerard, who had a big service game in Game 2, serves for the first time in Game 3.
Yeah, and we won't have quite a run this time as Jackson Lesser puts down the swing and Staples gets the ball right back.
How important is it to keep those runs short?
I think it's huge, just because the bigger the run, I think the bigger the momentum is building for the other team, and the more momentum you lose. So I think to keep the other team's runs quick and to keep yours longer is really the key to winning volleyball games. As they call under on the Trumbull player, I'm not quite sure which one, but Austin continues serving now.
Now Austin has this unusual serve where he sort of slows down with 1 foot. Do you guys talk about it at all?
I think it's really just whatever motion he finds more comfortable for him, but it's really just a very powerful top spin serve it'll start going up and then drop very, very fast.
It's almost like different batting stances in baseball, right?
It really is, and this serve is really, it really has the power of what some jump serves might have, but he remains standing throughout the whole time.
Which gives him more accuracy, right?
I believe so. It's a great try there by Peter to get that ball up.
Staples still leads in Game 2. 8-5 right now is the score.
There's a missed serve there by number 27, Taylor Collison. Nice play there by Trumbull to get the ball right back off the swing by the middle.
Well, perfect placement and right in the corner there. Pearson will serve right now, and it's a good one.
So Max Shellman gets the up there off of Will's pass. And big net there by the Trumbull, which gives the ball back to Staples, which, as Betts also talks about a lot, you can't keep winning. You can't win games if you get down early and then just trade points the rest of the time.
It was Ari's first serve since that miscue in Game 2.
As the block there by Charlie Weiser on the tip, and they give the ball right back to him, and he gets it down. As there was a great up, but it just couldn't be corralled by the rest of the Trumbull players.
No, I think I heard the Trumbull side again try and get to Ari as he's serving. Although they're on different sides of the court right now, so it's not as sort of disruptive. But definitely bad sportsmanship, which you don't see very often in this sport.
And eventually, I believe that if it continues, Trumbull will actually end up losing a point, and Staples will end up gaining a point just as a penalty.
Well, as we talked about in the Darien game, a lot of big-time ethics happen in volleyball.
Well, it really does, and like some parts are even similar to tennis in the sense that you really have to be quiet during serves and be respectful and keep cheering to a respectful level and not say anything. I mean, I'm sure people will say things that are not really accepted.
But I think of golf also where you know, if you do something wrong, you sort of take the blame for it and admit it and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Tito just out, and that's 2 service errors for Tito today.
And I think that's a great play by Max Shellman because that's a really tough ball to judge, just as a line drive coming right at him, and he did a great job to move out of the way because he knew it was going long.
Staples has a 4-point lead, 12-8, and star server Peter Lewishka.
Oh, as Jackson loses his balance there and hits the net.
And that's kind of even a bigger point because it takes away any run that Peter might have had on a serve.
And it does, but we'll see how Staples responds here as
Matt Salvi to serve.
There's a great set there by Peter. And it is thrown down by Jackson. So once again, the Wreckers and the Eagles are trading points.
Yeah, after that first little run that Peter opened the game with about 4 or 5 service points, it's really been point to point, point to point.
Yeah. Once again, Trumbull gets the ball back.
You know, we're talking about the change in sort of points. Now every play gets a point. You know, in the olden days, this would have been no points through all of this. It would have been just
a very
getting
long
the serve, getting the serve, getting the serve.
Exactly. As there was a great swing there by Jackson, but it was dug up. Great swing there by Will as it is blocked. And
Taylor Collison.
Trumbull is getting pretty excited now, so we'll see what Staples does to try and stop a big run forming by Trumbull.
13-11 right now.
That ball is in there by Will Richardson. It was a great swing going cross court.
Yeah, you know, if Tito can't do anything about that, almost nobody can.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a spark plug on this team.
He really is. He's really the key to everything that's going on because, once again, as Betts likes to say, everything starts with a pass, and Tito is often the one who is initiating what's going on.
And he also just gives so much energy to this team.
He really does. There's a great play there by Staples. Not really sure how they quite got that one over the net, but Trumbull puts it right back down.
In a way, it was almost a lucky play because I think it hit him in the shoulder.
It did, but great awareness play nonetheless by the other Staples players to stay with it and put the ball back over.
There's Rick Gerard to serve, 14-12. Staples holds a narrow lead in Game 3. And Ari Sine.
By Ari.
Haven't seen a lot of power out of Ari today.
We really haven't, and I think that we really haven't seen much out of Ari offensively, but we've really seen more of his defensive side just due to a lot of the big blocks he's had, and really I think the matchup that he is having on offense against the middle from Trumbull.
Staples opens up a 3-point lead. Their crowd tries to get him a little bit more psyched. Again, Trumbull tries to rattle the server, and I think you're right, Dave. I think somebody will say something soon if they keep that up. It's like the one main thing that you're not supposed to do in volleyball,
exactly.
Right? Nice play by Will. And again.
Great play there by Will. Benny, no, actually Will. It was by Will. To put that one down in the deep left corner and get Staples back in.
You know, throughout that point on both sides, you saw some perfect sets.
No, you really did. It was a great rally on both sides. That one is in there for Trumbull.
Taylor Collison is number 27 on the Trumbull team, and he and Pearson, number 12, are the 2 big hitters on this team.
They are, and they're really trying to lead this team and pump them up and see what they can do almost single-handedly to get this team back in. As a missed serve there by Pearson, and that certainly will help.
It's been 1 point back and forth, but Trumbull hasn't been able to catch up to Staples. They've remained 3 points up right now, 17-14.
That was a great play there by Mike Smith to throw that one down cross court, and there was really not much Staples could have done about that.
17-15 in this critical third game. Games are tied up 1-1. Here's Zito to serve. He's had 2 big service errors today.
He puts that one in. Benny King with the hit right into the block, and it goes right down onto the Trumbull side of the ball, however. So it is Staples' point.
So again, it's been 1 point back and forth to each team, and so Staples has been able to just keep this tight little lead of 2 and 3 points. It's 18-15 right now.
There's a huge block there by Charlie Weezer, not only in how well and solidly he blocked it, but also in the time of the game, how big of a point that was.
Yeah, that's the first time a team in a while has gotten 2 points in a row, and that opens it up a little bit, 19-15.
And it was just a big block in the sense that the momentum really shifted from a neutral standpoint onto the Staples side. Because Max is called for a lift there.
He didn't like that call, did he?
But it was a ball he really couldn't do much else on. So I really wouldn't get too upset about it if I were him.
Big point for Trumbull right now, so that's 19-16.
That ball is tipped down by Ben King, and it is 20-16 now.
Beautiful little dink by Ben, and sort of acrobatic little move by Zito there. Showed his gymnastic skill also.
He's once again, like you said, he's really the spark plug on this team. He brings a lot of energy and a lot of athleticism. As Charlie there with another block, and the bench on Staples is really loving it. As even Tommy D'Agostino, who is feeling a little bit under the weather, is really getting into the action right now.
Speaking of energy, even a sick Tommy D'Agostino is going to be jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
As Jim Honeycutt can attest to in his audio class. It's 21-16. What a time for the first time in quite a while for Staples to get a couple points in a row. They've done it twice. They've opened up what was a 2-point lead, 3-point lead, 2-point lead, 3-point lead, 2-point lead, 3-point lead to a 5-point lead with the serve. It's 21-16 right now.
I think this really gives Staples huge momentum, because this really gives them an advantage to being able to put this game away and giving them a lot of momentum as Charlie Weezer tries to pump up the crowd there after this timeout.
We just got confirmation of the person that we've been calling number 20 is actually number 40 in our scorecard, Jacob Butkus.
There's a good pass there by Max. And a smart tip there by Will. And a great up there by Ben King. And seems like number 27, Taylor Collison, got a little late jump on that ball, or he might have ran into one of his players. So he had a little trouble getting there.
It's 22-16, almost a must point right now for Trumbull.
Great play there by Salvi to keep the ball on his side of the net and give his team a chance. And an even better swing there by Will, and he is really excited right now.
What a difference a game makes for Will Richardson.
Oh, definitely. Definitely what a difference a couple points makes. As he's now having fun with his teammates, laughing and having a good time.
As Will is wont to do.
Yeah, he's definitely a great guy, and I think that's he's a very deserving senior captain for this team. This is a great up there, as Charlie Weezer was called for the lift, but again, it was more of a reaction play than Charlie really trying to lift the ball up with his hand.
Score is 23-17 as Mike Smith goes back to serve, and he's almost has to put a run together right now.
There's a good pass there by Will, and an even better set by Peter to get really low and try and get that up, but Trumbull expected the pass, and the set to the middle, and they jumped on it. 23-18 right now. Again, Mike Smith almost has to put some points together, or Game 3 will go to Staples. And there's a great dig once again by Zito, which really shows what a great player he is. As Max Shellman gets that, let's see if they can put it over, and they just a little high there by Charlie Weezer. So again, that sort of drop there that cost a point for
Trumbull earlier now sort of hurt the Staples team. So
that's really how the high school gyms are built. So I think that is really part of the game that people have to get used to. As Charlie gets another block there. And
3 points in a row. And actually, yeah, 3 points in a row. It's 23-20, and Trumbull is doing exactly what they had to do.
Exactly, and we'll see. It is still, Staples is still up 3, so we'll see what they can do. Not much they could do there.
That's how this game started, and it's how the game is now going to game point. 24-20 on a Charlie Weiser kill.
Charlie Weiser is definitely one of the strongest hitters on the Staples team, and then he really showed it there.
Trumbull needs 4 points in a row or this game's over. Nice save.
It's a smart tip there by Jackson, but Tito again was right there as usual. There's a huge block there by Ari Sine, maybe fittingly to put that game away for Staples.
You know, as far as deja vu goes, this is almost incredible, but we said game 2 on the last time these guys met on April 25th was won by Trumbull after a Staples win in game 1. It was won by Trumbull 27-25. Well, you know what happened in the third game on there? The exact same score as just happened now, 25-20. So Staples right now after 3 games, goes up 2-1. And they look psyched, Dave. Look at them in that huddle there.
They're definitely really excited. And like I touched on earlier, I really think that Game 4 is the most important game leading up to Game 5. I mean, Game 1, of course, gives the team the momentum, but as we saw with Trumbull, that Trumbull can, the opposing team can take the momentum away just like that in Game 2. But I think Game 4 really puts the pressure on both teams. Just if Staples loses, then the pressure is really put on Staples going into Game 5 because Trumbull then has the momentum. But if Trumbull loses, then it's all over for them.
Yeah, there's no breathing room anymore for the Trumbull Eagles. One more win, and Staples wraps up another FCIAC championship. As we're talking right now, this is not the end of the season for either one of these two teams. And in fact, as last year, it may be deja vu also, because this may be exactly the same scenario as we saw last year. Basically, Staples right now is number 1 in Class L. They have 2 other teams from the FCIAC in Class L. The teams that are number 2 and number 3, this Trumbull team, which is actually number 3 in the FCIACs, and Ridgefield, which is number 2. Ridgefield's also ranked number 2 in Class L. So the top 2 teams in the biggest division in the whole state of Connecticut are ranked number 1 and 2 in the FCIAC also. Basically, Staples should have a bye, which will get them to the final 8. There are 13 teams that are going to make the states in the Class L. And just to set it up, they would probably, with a win over a sort of team that's ranked 8th, 9th, 10th in the states, if they do get one win, they'll move into the semis and they'll meet the Trumbull Eagles.
Probably Trumbull, Ridgefield, or Darien.
Well, it wouldn't be Ridgefield because Ridgefield's ranked 2. It looks like the road to the states right now will go Staples with a home game, which will bring them on both Channel 78 and also WWPT. The Staples home game in the quarterfinals of the states. We'll be there to broadcast that. But then it becomes all the more interesting. It becomes interesting with featuring this team again. Last year, same exact scenario. Both of those games went to 5. And then state finals, hopefully, against maybe Ridgefield. That would be on a neutral site as the Trumbull game would. But we're ready for some action. So let's head back to the court where, again, the starting 6 is the same for Staples, it looks like, although it looks like Charlie Weiser and Ari are on the court right now. No, Ari's leaving, and leaving Max Shulman on the court right now.
The reason why they both were on the court to start the game is because in order to do a lineup check, you need your starting 6, which in this case is Ari and Charlie, and then after the lineup is checked, the libero can be subbed in for the middle.
Oh, I see.
And just to touch a little bit on states, I think a team that could really surprise some people is actually Bridgeport Central, who I believe finished their season 12-5 or 11-6 or something very close to that.
And you know, I believe they're tied with Trumbull as far as the state ranking.
Yeah, and they're a very scrappy team. They'll get a lot of balls up and over the net, and in a lot of places that teams really aren't used to getting the ball. And I think it would be a very interesting matchup to see that team against some of these powerhouses in the FCIAC. A great swing there by Will. And Mike Smith with a good swing there. And Ben with a great spot there, and maybe a lift, but it wasn't called.
These refs certainly haven't been shy about calling lifts either.
No, they really haven't. There's a huge block by Ben King. And I think one of the most important emotionally members of the Staples team is Ben King, just because I like to say that he has the emotions of a soccer player with the composure of a volleyball player. Because he was one of the senior stars of the boys Staples soccer team, who ended up tying
of the states,
tying in the FCIACs. And
well, this game won't end up in a tie. They're either going to be state FCIAC champions or FCIAC runners-up, depending on this game and the next game. If Trumbull wins this game, we are in the beginning stages. It's just 1-1 of Game 4 of this FCIAC Finals, 2007 FCIAC Finals, against the Trumbull Eagles and the Staples Wreckers. Staples won Game 1, Trumbull won Game 2, Staples won Game 3, and Trumbull leads with an ace there.
So that was an ace there by Mike Smith, as it is now 2-1 Trumbull, and we'll see how this game goes. It is very early right now in Game 4. Staples has won 2 out of the first 3, and it is 2-1 Staples, and 2-1 Trumbull in this game right now.
And as David and I have been commenting on, as
There's
far
a
as
great play by Jackson Lesser there.
yeah, absolutely. As far as Game 2 and Game 3 went, they are the identical scores to the games that were played on April 25th between these two teams. The only other time they met, Game 2, Trumbull won 27-25. Game 3, Staples came back and won 25 out of 20 after winning the first game. So just to complete that sort of picture right now, if you're keeping track at home, in that match on the 25th, Staples won in 4, and they won the fourth game 25-15. So we'll see if 3 games in a row line up exactly.
So there's a great kill there by Charlie Weiser, and that ties things back up at 3. As Ari comes back in the game, and Charlie takes a little breather, and Max Shellman goes back to serve.
Charlie Weiser, I think in every game, has had a kill early on in a game to really sort of set the pace of that.
As there's a huge block there by Ari, and he's pretty excited right now. Because as we mentioned earlier, he actually lives in Trumbull, so he has quite a connection playing against the Trumbull Eagles.
Sort of said, take that kill away from here. That's not going to happen.
Great ball there by Ben to just get that one back over.
Yeah, there's a little confusion on the Staples side.
There's a great up there by Max.
Again, a nice save.
A smart play there by Peter, and a great spot, deep corner, which is where you want to put the ball in that situation. It seems like Max might have misread that ball there a little bit, or he might have slipped or something. So he was on his side before the ball even came near him.
Well, it's 4-4 right now in Game 4.
They call a double hit there by Peter, and he's a little frustrated by the call, and we'll see what's going on now.
Taylor Collison with his second serve right now.
A great spot there by Will, but it's dug up by Trumbull. And that one is just out, and it's almost lucky that the Trumbull players didn't touch that, because they both, Tito and
Tim Pearson.
They both went for it, thank you. And neither of them touched it, and it almost seems like it's a good thing.
So Collison's on a bit of a run here on his serve.
There's a smart tip there by Ari, but right into the hands of Tito. And number 12, Matt Salvi, tries the same thing, but to no avail, as it is tipped back over by Staples.
Looks like Shellman will be back to serve, or maybe it's Austin Seeger, yeah. Austin Seeger to serve. He's behind 6'5" right now.
That swing there by Matt Salvi is put over on the Staples side of the net. Seems like the block didn't penetrate quite as well as they'd like to, and it just went straight down onto the Staples side.
And one of the all FCIAC Eagles, Tim Pearson, to get his second serve.
So Ari seems like he was a little bit early on that ball, as he seemed like he might have hung up in the air a little bit too long and hit that ball right into the block.
A little bit of a lead now for Trumbull. They lead at 8-5 in game 4.
It's a great play there by Ben just to get that ball up, but it goes out.
Just like you were saying before, Betts' sort of creed of one pass was happening.
Ari is called on the net there. It is now 10-5. This lead is widening a bit for Trumbull, so we'll see how Staples tries to respond to this run. A lefty hit there by Peter on the set that was a little bit long. That one was in a perfect spot, however, for him as he throws that one down for the kill right down the line.
Important point to stop the bleeding a little bit there.
Yeah, definitely.
10-5. You don't want to fall very far behind this team. Makes it 10-6, and Will Richardson will serve.
That ball is put into the deep right corner by Matt Salvi.
You know, these teams know each other so well. They're almost like mirror images of each other. And, you know, it's just who's going to play better that point, you know, that night, that point. Because they just are friends, are, you know, combatants. They know each other well, and they just put everything on the floor.
They called an offensive attack there by Austin. And Staples doesn't like the call, as Matt Salvi actually ends up applauding the call, as Will Richardson goes over to confer with the ref.
Coach Betts with his hands on his hips, just sort of saying, I don't know what happened there. As much as I said the two teams know each other, I'm sure there's some trash talking going on there between the two teams.
No, definitely, and I think that's part of the fun of playing volleyball, is that you are so close to your competition the whole time, and there's a lot of time to discuss and talk about things as Tito misses his third serve.
3 service errors.
I haven't really seen Tito play a lot service-wise because, like I said, last year liberos couldn't serve, but it really seems...
I haven't seen him make many mistakes in the times I've seen him.
No, yeah, he's generally a very solid and consistent player, and it's very strange to see these 3 missed serves from Tito. As Charlie seems a little late on that block, and it goes down once again on the Staples side of the net.
Rick Gerard's starting to make a difference, not just on his serve, but also on the court. Here's Matt Salvi to serve.
There's a little jump float. And there's a great big kill there by Charlie Weasley in a big spot in the game to keep this one within.
He has had some really important points, hasn't he?
He's a big-time player.
And it seems like any time Staples has really needed a big point, it's gone to Weezer.
Oh, definitely, and I think he's really become a go-to guy for this team in his junior season.
He is the tallest guy on this team.
He is.
At 6'3".
Mike Smith misses that one wide to the left.
So 2 big points there. Staples was down 14-6. It's now 14-8.
As Peter Lewiczka continues to serve, and we'll see if he can get a big run here going for Staples. As that one is wide and long, pardon me. And
Taylor Collison hits it out.
There's another point there for Staples, as it is now 10-3, and Staples is right back in this game.
Yeah, 13-10. I said 13-8. It's a little hard to read the scoreboard from where we are, but it's 13-10 now.
Oh, there's a great up there by Max Shellman, but he just can't get that ball up. He seems frustrated, but one of the assistant coaches, Brian Palmley, who actually played here last year, just congratulates him on just touching that ball, quite frankly, because that was a
and
fantastic
what an effort from
hit.
the whole. I mean, 3 of the Staples records are flat out on the ground at the end of that point.
Exactly, and that reminds me of a play last year as Matt Salvi misses a serve long, and there seems to be a lot of missed serves here. But that reminded me of a play from last year in one of the FCIAC games or one of the states games, where there was a ball and 5 out of the 6 players, there was a kill there for Jackson. 5 out of the 6 players went down to try and get the ball, and there was one standing who would, if they had gotten the ball up, which I don't remember if they did, but he would have needed to be up there to get the ball over. So it almost seemed choreographed.
This game is tightened again. It's 14-12 right now.
I think this really shows how dangerous Team Staple is, because they could have just hung their heads and just saved their energy for Game 5, but they kept themselves in it, and now they're only down 1.
Yeah, they are in this.
As Shepro quickly calls a timeout to try and stop this run, as the fans for Staples get back on their feet, and this is a really exciting Game 4.
14-13 right now. Trumbull had a big lead, 14-8, and Staples put together a run, and they're right back in this. Staples wins this game, it's all over, and they've wrapped up their 5th FCIAC championship in a row.
And I think that, once again, says a lot about the type of coach that Betts really is. And he founded the boys volleyball program here at Staples. He was actually the baseball coach before he was the volleyball coach. And he really put this team on their feet, and everyone loves it now. And as you can see, the stands are full, and everyone's really excited.
And he just runs a great program. And what I like about it is just how much the kids love to play for him and have
they really
fun.
do. Because he's not only is he a great coach, but he's a great person, and he's just a lot of fun to be around, and he knows what he's talking about. He knows his stuff.
And as we said at the beginning of this broadcast, the 2 biggest rivalries right now at Staples and really in the FCIAC are this volleyball matchup that we're watching right now, Staples against Trumbull and Staples against Greenwich in football. It's nothing like those 2 rivalries.
It's a perfect set there by Peter. That's a very difficult set, going in the opposite direction to set that back set basically from the other side of the court. And he did it almost perfectly as Jackson threw it down.
Trumbull still leads by 1. It's 15-14 as we're in Game 4 of this 2007 FCIAC championship.
There's a great up there by Benny King as Will goes up for the hit and throws it down line. And it seems like he's been taking advantage of the line. It seems like Trumbull has been giving it to him throughout the game, and Will has been taking advantage of it as of late.
Staples all the way back. It's 15-15, and Peter Lewishka just signaled for, and he's really one of the people with the most energy on this team. You talked about his dance in the Darien game. Yeah. He went a little nuts there to get the crowd up and the team up too.
It's actually interesting. Before that game, he actually ended up doing that after every point. Here, we'll wait for service and I'll explain in a sec.
Sheldon to serve.
In the last Trumbull game, as there's a lift there called on Mike Smith as Staples takes the lead. But
it's going to be interesting right now. Trumbull had a pretty big lead, right? Staples tied it up. Yeah. Now they've taken the lead. I don't think Trumbull will fall apart, but if they're gonna, now's the time to do it, really. They've lost their big lead. Let's see what happens.
And it seems like they've been having trouble in these
that's a
pressure
bad play right
situations.
there.
As
Butkus.
Butkus puts that one right into the net, and the Staples fans once again chant rattled.
And I do think that they might be right now. They're down 2 games to 1.
They definitely are, and I think
this team's in their head, and
as they call a net there on Ori or Jackson, I'm not sure which one, but the ball goes back to Trumbull.
That's a huge point for Trumbull, just to really change the momentum a little bit.
It really is, and I think that we'll see how Trumbull responds here after Staples took the lead back, because Trumbull has been it seems like they haven't really been reacting very well under these pressure situations late in games, just giving points away almost on like the ball that was hit right into the net, and the many missed serves by players such as Tito, as Ari had a very strong kill, as we see some of the power from
we
Ari
knew we were going to
Zito.
see the power of Ari eventually.
There's a huge block there by Ari Sine and Will Richardson, as Shepro takes another timeout, and it is now 19-16 Staples.
And boy, they needed that timeout right now, because 19-16, this was I believe a 14-6 game at one time, and that means that Staples has turned it around. And if I have that right, that means that they've won 13 of the last 15 points. And basically right now, this is do or die time for Trumbull. They do not want to lose to Staples again. Staples looks like is in their head. Tim Pearson, again, the quote that was in the Trumbull Times right after Staples beat them again on April 25th. Everybody on this team, especially the seniors, 11 seniors on this team, is looking forward to another shot at Staples. They've got it right now, but they are down 2-1. And in a game that they were up by 8 points, they are now down 19-16.
And I think that also says a lot about the character of the Staples players, just not giving up and not just settling for a game 4 loss, as
Matt Salvi hits it deep.
Hits that ball out.
And it's 20-16. And the
Staples
Staples side could not be more up. Ben King jumping around.
And Staples now has a fairly commanding lead. I say command, it is only 4 points, but compared to some of the leads that these games have been won by against Trumbull, 4 points is a fairly large lead. That set was a little low, but Middle was able to handle that one. And Trumbull gets the ball back.
Sherpro's really trying to spur on his team, shouting at him. Every point is a huge point right now for Trumbull.
There's a big play there by Ari as he hit that one right on top of the block, and it ricocheted out.
21-17, and Will Richardson will serve. 4-point lead right now.
So that was a big play there by Staples to get that.
I'm not sure what the
there's
call
some
was.
Discrepancy.
Yeah,
I personally believe the ball landed on the Staples side of the net, but the referee believes that the
well,
ball
the smart thing
landed on the
is
Trumbull side.
what they're doing. They're making sure of it.
Exactly.
They're conferring.
And I believe
they're going to make this a Trumbull point. And I think that was the right call, Dave.
No, I think it was.
Coach Betts does not think so, though. I've never seen him quite as dramatically thinking, saying, wait a minute, guys. Well, here's Tito to serve again.
Once again, just reading Coach Betts' lips there, he screamed one pass. As
Another
Tito
ball out by Tito.
Fourth serve of the game. And the Staples bench is loving it just because they know Tito so well. They have played on club teams with him now for 3 years in a row over really the span of November, December to all the way to late March, early April. As Ben King
with a huge block.
as he shows some of that soccer player emotion there, screaming after he gets the block.
It's 23-18 right now. 2 points away from Bruce Betts' 5th FCIAC championship in a row.
And
what a great run this team
game,
is on.
This game seems like it is pretty well in hand. I don't want to jinx anything, but we'll see how it goes. As they call net on Charlie Weiser, I believe, and he knew it as soon as it happened.
Well, actually, in the States last year, Staples had a big lead, bigger than this, in Game 4, and Trumbull did come back. So there's no quit in this Trumbull team.
No, there definitely isn't, and I think that's part of the coaching just from Shepro, just similar, because once again he is such good friends with Betts just because they work in the same school during the day. That they, as Will puts that one down, and they are now 1 point away as Tommy D'Agostino does a little dance there on the bench. Because as many know, he is a senior, so this is his FCIAC championship game also. As the fans get on their feet, it
Staples
is now
has 5 chances in a row right now to win this 5th FCIAC championship in a row. Score is 24-19. Everybody's on their feet. Lewishka is serving.
So there's a pass to Peter. He puts it back to the senior Ben King. So that ball is tipped over, and Peter gets the ball up, and Will Richardson goes for the hit and puts it in the net. So it is now 20-24 Staples, as Mike Smith will now serve, and he'll need 4 serves in a row to tie this game
right
up.
now.
So there's a great play there by Ben, and a great play there by Jackson, as that ball does not go in, and Staples
That's 5 in a
wins
row.
the FCIAC championship for the 5th year in a row.
And look at that happy bunch of wreckers right there hugging Coach Betts.
And they really deserve it. They've worked so hard all year, and practicing every day. They've had, I believe, 1 day off, and that was the day after the Trumbull game during the regular season.
On the other side of the court, I saw a Trumbull player just disgustingly tip the chair over. This really is the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat.
They're really devastated because they also worked really hard.
And they were waiting for this game for
they
quite
really
a while.
They were expecting to be in this game. They wanted to be in this game from the beginning of the season, and it just didn't turn out in their favor.
Well, we're going to have the award presentation of the FCIACs, and really, no matter what happens, watch them. These handshakes are going to be meaningful, and the biggest handshake of all, I guarantee you, is going to be between the 2 coaches.
Definitely.
So much respect that both teams have for each other.
You see Tito, and it seems like he actually ripped his shirt down the middle on the front out of anger, which I think really expresses just the emotions that go through just a close volleyball match like this one.
Big handshakes from Coach Shepro. And there's going to be a lot to talk about in tomorrow's social studies class, too.
Or maybe not much at all.
And here's Coach Betts coming over to the other side of the court. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
a huge hug right now. These 2 guys are competitors, but most of all, they admire each other and they're big friends. You've just seen the 2007 FCIAC championship game. Much as it happened on April 25th, Staples beats Trumbull 3-1. In fact, it was very close to exactly how it happened. Game 1 went to Staples. Game 2 in overtime went to Trumbull. And then game 3 and 4 went to Staples. And I talked to Laura Blair earlier, and she said, just don't let this go to 5 games because it's just too tense. It's just too nervous.
It was a matchup of 2 of the best teams in the FCIAC, and it came out, I believe, the way it should have, just because I do believe overall Staples is a little bit better and a little more balanced than Trumbull, but once again, they're 2 very great teams.
And you still see both teams, and there's Taylor Collison getting an award. It's hard for us to hear right here, and we don't have a feed of the audio, but I believe because Ben King just got the award too, they're probably giving out their all FCIAC awards because Taylor Collison got one and Ben King got one.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is because here's Tim Pearson also. So that's Taylor Collison. Taylor got honorable mention FCIAC. And they're going to be giving out a lot of awards if these are all FCIAC awards because there are 6 players on the Staples Wreckers that got some sort of FCIAC award.
Tommy D'Agostino receives his medal there.
So these are FCIAC championships.
And Charles Winslow, or as you like to call him, Skywalker.
Skywalker.
He gets his award there.
And I think that nickname's going to stick there.
It very well could for years to come.
But we're not getting too much of a feed from there, so why don't you sort of take over the play-by-play here and announce the players as they get their FCIAC championships.
Okay, well, Tim Ramostella and Jackson Lesser just got their medals, and Charlie Weezer, who was such a focal point up the middle for Staples on offense and defense, gets his medal there. As senior tri-captain Ben King gets his medal there. He's I think he's really happy about what happened so far today.
Yes, he is. And if you look over a little bit to the left, you can see the utter dejection on the Trumbull side. They really are devastated with this. Their hands are in their faces, and they just have no emotion. It's just been wiped at them.
Well, they really are, as Evan Kelly gets his medal there. Tri-captain Will Richardson, who we saw many emotional outbreaks, good and bad, from him today. He gets his medal there, and he seems very happy about it. Peter Lewichka, who played so well in Monday's game against Darien and in today's game.
Really set the pace early today with surprise, a big run and great creative play.
Exactly. Ari Sine gets his medal, and I think he's really happy just because I think it makes it all the sweeter beating his home team. And, Bruce Betts gets his medal there.
There's the FCIAC championship trophy being given to the tri-captains, Austin Seeger.
Hold it up.
Will Richardson, the press is there to take the pictures of that.
Tommy D'Agostino joins them, and four seniors.
Those are the four seniors there, and they are FCIAC champions, and that's nothing new to Coach Betts. This is 5 years in a row.
And I believe Ben King gets either that could be his FCIAC award, or it could be most valuable player.
Most valuable player
in
the tournament, I think. And that, again, as we've talked about the last 2 days, Dave, it's really hard to pick an MVP for this Staples team.
No, it
because
really
it's just such a balanced team.
Yeah, they're a great overall team, and like we said, like we touched on in the Darien game, they're really not a team of stars. They're really a team of just balanced players, offensively and defensively, who just can put it together and get wins. Ari Sine gets
I think these are the FCIAC awards actually right now.
They very well could be.
Ari Sine got honorable mention in the FCIAC. Taylor Collison, one of the All-FCIAC, deserving All-FCIAC winners.
Kevin Sergo was mentioned, as we saw him on Monday against Darien.
And he's coming up to get his honorable mention and a high five from Coach Betts.
And I think that really shows the kind of person that...
You mentioned the Central team. Here's Gerald Williams from the Central team getting honorable mention. And you're going to see some of the players that you saw tonight receive a number of these awards. There are 3 members of the Staple team that were second team All-FCIAC and 2 members of both teams that were All-FCIAC. So you are going to see some players pick up these awards then in uniform. Jamie Davies right now coming in from Bassick. Chad Stewart from Danbury. Not sure if he made the trip down. I don't see him approaching there, but
this is a player from Harding.
Harding player that I'm not familiar with, and I don't want to butcher his name, but there's Dan Schreff from Greenwich, and Dylan Sullivan from St. Joe's will be called up next for their honorable mention FCIACs, and then we'll get to the second team and finally the first team.
And
Dylan
I do
forward.
see Brian Begley and Cody Coughlin in the stands over to the right, so I believe they will be receiving their awards at some point. As Austin Seegert goes up to receive his second team All-FCIAC award.
These are the second 6 right now, and you will see 3 players from the Staples team get their award. Matt Wheaton, not sure if he's here from Ridgefield, but you'll see the next guy.
Peter Lewichka goes up, and I think that he's definitely one of the best players on Staples, and I honestly think he might have even earned a first-team All-FCIAC award, but I'm not really sure if there was room on the 6-player team for him there, just out of the strong competition in the FCIAC this year.
Here comes Cody Coughlin, who we saw a couple nights ago.
I was talking to Charlie Weiser actually before today's game, and he was talking about.
Well, you're going to mention Charlie here. He's about to get his award.
Yeah. And I was talking to him before today's game, and he mentioned how interesting it is that 3 out of the top 4 teams in the Class L division are coming out of the FCIAC.
Absolutely. And it just shows you how strong the FCIAC is. Well, here are the members of the first team All-FCIAC, and you'll see 4 of them that played tonight. First of all, Ben King, MVP in this tournament and an FCIAC champion, and now a first team All-FCIAC.
And he's really just a great person. He's going to be going to, I believe, Boston College next year.
And you know, seniors mean something in terms of the All-FCIAC. Not everything, obviously, but it does mean something to be a senior, and it maybe pushes him ahead of Peter Lewishka in the coaches' minds. Here's Adam Carranza from Ridgefield, and then we'll see another Staples Rackers, Will Richardson, another senior.
And just to touch on Benny King real quick, once again, he just walked over out of everything just to go say hi to his brother and give him a big hug as his brother congratulated him on the victory.
Big hand from the Trumbull side for their second All-FCIAC player, Tim Pearson. And we'll see one other player who we were very impressed with from Darien as the 6th member of, and probably the tallest member
Definitely.
of the All-FCIAC team, Brian Begley.
And Begley really showed a lot of poise for only a junior in the FCIAC semifinal game against Staples on Monday, having a lot of big points and really trying to get the momentum going in Darien's favor with a lot of key plays.
In a way, it's really nice that they had this ceremony right now. I'm seeing sort of the emotions, you know, at least the color come back to the face, a little bit of the Trumbull side. Pictures will get taken, and handshakes will be made, and a little bit of recovery time almost for the Trumbull players. David, we saw a great matchup in a tense gymnasium. And it came out very similarly to what happened April 25th.
Almost exactly to what happened, even score-wise. Like game-wise, it was 3-1 on April 25th, and it was 3-1 tonight. But score-wise, the middle 2 games were the exact same score as they were.
And it happened exactly the same way. And you know what? We're watching these 2 teams play for 2 times. It is not, in fact, it's probable, actually, that they will play 3 times this year. This is probably not the end of this rivalry for 2007. Just before we go, let's set it up again. The FCIAC champion for the 5th year in a row, the Staples Wreckers. They won 3-1 against Trumbull. Move on to the States right now. Trumbull probably will not have a bye, but Staples probably will definitely. There's 13 teams to make the Class L state championship, and 3 of those are at the top of the FCIAC. It's highly probable that Staples will play an 8 or a 9 or a 10 seed, and we will be there both on Channel 78 and also on WWPT because that'll be home in our Staples Gymnasium. A win there, it's on to the semifinals, and most likely, I can almost guarantee this, most likely they will play these Trumbull Eagles. And can you imagine how much this Trumbull team would want to beat Staples then?
I think that it really couldn't be much more, honestly, than they did tonight, just because everything that's built up, including last year, like all these guys that are on this varsity team were here last year, saw what happened last year, and I think the hunger really started then. So we'll see if this adds more to the flame already.
Well, there's
and,
11 seniors on this Trumbull team, and I know they want to get these Wreckers one more time. They did before, and they've said it in the Trumbull Times. They had their chance, but basically the FCIAC champions once again are the Trumbull Eagles. Are the Staples Wreckers.
Staples Wreckers.
We have one more thing to do before the conclusion of this broadcast, and that's for Jillian Rothman to come in.
And she's joined by Peter Lewishka today, who played very well.
And I've got a feeling that we're going to turn this over to Jillian for her post-game show.
Hi, I'm Jillian Rothman, and I am the manager of the Staples High School varsity boys volleyball team, and I'm coming to you live from the FCIAC championship game, having just gotten the medal. And my player of the game tonight is Peter Lewishka. He's a setter and an outside hitter. He was a varsity starter last year as a sophomore and is now a junior. So hi, Peter.
Hey, how you doing, Shell?
So first, how are you feeling?
It's great to be here again. I mean, last year we got here after a lot of hard work, and now we're back. And it's great to be back.
Last year, you were thrown into the FCIAC game, having not started many of the regular season games, and you ended up starting that game. How was that?
It was a real surprise, but you get a nice a little adrenaline rush from it, and you feed off that, and then it's just all natural from there, I guess.
And I know you're not somebody who likes to brag about statistics, and I'm not somebody who usually judges somebody based on their stats. I think that there's a lot more that goes into the game than how many kills, how many assists. It's also how much they're hustling. But you can't deny your statistics tonight. You had 6 kills, 32 assists, 3 blocks, and 7 service points, 2 of which were aces. And so how were you feeling on the court? Did you know that you were playing this well?
When you're on the court, you got to look around you, and you just got to thank everyone that's backing you up. My passes were great tonight, and the job of a setter is to take a good pass and make it a better set. So I couldn't have done without my passers, and the job of the hitters is to take a bad set and make it a better hit. So I couldn't have done without them either.
In the first 3 games, Betts took a couple strategic timeouts, and then in the 4th game, when you guys were down 5 points, he didn't take a timeout. How were you guys feeling on the court, knowing that all his trust was in you?
It's sometimes when a coach takes a timeout, it gives you a nice breather. But when Betts didn't take the timeout, I know that he knew that we had it, and so that I think that helps even more than taking a timeout would.
And you just saw now your captain, Ben King, get the MVP award. What's it been like being under his leadership for the season?
It's been great. I mean, he's always hustling, he's always talking, he's always keeping everyone up, man. When you see someone out there passing as well as he does, hitting as well as he does, blocking and just hustling, he's got more heart, than pretty much every player in the state. So when you see something like that, it really helps you, motivates you, brings you back up.
Betts always tells you guys that there's a 5-second rule, that you have 5 seconds until, 5 seconds to be overjoyed in a great play, or 5 seconds to lament, a missed hit or a missed serve, and then you got to get back into the game and think about what's going on now. And just now in the huddle, he told you guys you have 10 minutes to celebrate this one because you have to look forward to the States game. So what are you thinking about right now?
It's a great rule. He told us in the beginning of the season, it's a 5-second rule. You got 5 minutes, 5 seconds to cheer or whatever. And it's true. You can't let your head get too big. You can't get out of control. Once the ball hits the floor, a new one's coming right back at you, and you got to do the same with that one. So it's great though to be able to celebrate, be able to go home with a win. So
and you get the day off tomorrow too, right?
Yeah, day off from practice. I'll take my 10 minutes. I'll take it slow.
Okay, and my last question for you now is that looking forward, not just to States, but also to next year. Next year, you're going to be a senior. So, I mean, you've just had an undefeated regular season. You just won FCIAC championship. You play all around, outside hitter and setter. What are you going to do next year? What's there left for you to do?
Well, this year is a dream coming into the season. You don't know exactly where you're going to be playing, and to be able to hit and set to go all the way around, it's been a real dream. And there's always room for improvement. So I guess we'll just have to see next season.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Jill.
Thanks, guys, and tune in for the next live broadcast when I'll have a different star of the game.